Seventh grade, welcome back on the Superhero Spirit Day. We are back in session. Hopefully no more 2-hour delays, no more snow days, no more NWA testing. Let's get back to business. Which means we have our first ISTEP problem of the week. So this is going to be going through it, and for anybody who's new or maybe has forgotten, we're going to show how to get to those same problems every week, and then we're going to talk through your specific problem for 7th grade. Here we go. From our home page, you're a student, you're living, so you want student life. Up at the top, we have these options of what to do next. Right here is your ISTEP information and weekly problems. That's what we want to go to. We are in week 4. You are 7th grade, so I go here. This is also where your videos will be, and by the time you watch this video, it'll be on this exact page. So here's what we got for you this week. A truck rental company charges a flat fee of $25 to rent a truck and an additional 50 cents for each mile the truck is driven. There is no sales tax. Thank God. Part A. Sue rented a truck from a company and was charged $82.50 when she returned the truck. Write an equation that can be used to determine the number of miles Sue drove the truck. Okay, understand something. Did they ask you to solve? No. So all we have to do is create an equation. So, write an equation that can be used to determine the number of miles Sue drove the truck. So we got a lot of things we got to keep in mind here. We know that it's a flat fee, $25. So that's unavoidable, which means as soon as you get the truck, no miles driven, you're at least charged $25. So I know that has to be a part of her cost, right? Now it says an additional and an additional. Do you see they literally told you what to put next? Additional, adding. So we're going to add that 50 cents for each mile. So if it gives you a rate, anytime there's a rate, there's usually multiplication that's going to be involved. In this scenario, it's 50 cents for each mile. Now notice something. That's what we're trying to find. Determine the number of miles. If they want you to determine something, usually you don't know it. So what I'm going to be able to do is say, okay, it's 50 cents per mile. I don't know. And that's okay. That's the nice thing about algebra. When you don't know something, you give it a variable. Now, this gives me her cost. Here's some good news. They told you her total cost. And there is your equation. That's my equation. It's nice. It's a one variable equation that I can solve pretty quickly to find and determine m, which is the number of miles. Okay? One more time through how we found that. Given the information I had, I know that it's a flat fee, meaning an automatic $25. And an additional, which means I'm adding 50 cents per mile. 50 cents, there's our rate, per number of miles, which we don't know. That gives me your total cost. Her total cost was $82.50. So that's how we create our equation. Now part B, on the lines provided, determine what the variable in your equation represents. Here's the good news about those types of questions. If you've put in the mental thought to create your equation, you've already answered that. You've already answered that. You haven't written it down yet, but in your head, what did M stand for? If you said miles, you're wrong. Kind of, all right? M is the number of miles driven. I know it sounds like I'm being picky, but that's because I am. M cannot just equal miles, right? You wouldn't say, I drove 30 M last night. What? That doesn't make sense. We have to make it specific for our scenario. RM represents the total miles who Sue drove. You understand? I made it specific to my scenario. The ISTEP requires you to do that, and so will we, okay? So if you just put M equals miles, you have the idea correct, but you didn't actually execute it correctly. Write it out specific to your scenario. Doing all right? All right, part C. Here's where we put in the most work. Scroll down so we can focus in on it. All right, now let's not forget our equation. That is going to be important here. We had stated already that 25 plus 0.50 m was, how much did she spend? $82.50. That is something that you already have written down. I just had to rewrite it. Now let's look at what they give us. Sue pays for gas used by the truck. The truck travels 8 miles per gallon of gas. Ooh, that is not good. Sue pays $3.50 per gallon of gas, including sales tax. How much in dollars does Sue pay for the gas? Woo, this is a lot. Now here's what too many people do. They go, okay, 8 divided by 3.5. Because usually they think, well, whatever numbers they gave me, I'm just going to use. Oh, no. You don't know how many miles she drove total. So that's what you have to find first, okay? We need to know how many total miles she drove before we can even use the new pieces of information she gave us, okay? So let's do that. From here, again, you can show work off to the side. I'm going to subtract. I guess I'll rewrite it first. We got 25 plus 0.50 m equals 82.50. I want to solve my m, so I subtract 25 from each side. Because remember, to move something across the equal sign, you have to do the opposite, or the inverse operation. The opposite of adding 25 is subtracting 25, and what you do to one side, you must do to the other. It's all about equality. We're left with 0.50 m equals 57.50. Okay? Do not be scared of decimals. They are everywhere in this world, and if you're afraid of them, you're going to be afraid of the world. Okay? They are treated the exact same way. If I now am multiplying m by 0.50, what's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing by 0.50. You arrive at 115. Okay? Check your work against mine. You subtract 25, you divide it by 0.5. M is 115. Now that's the total number of miles driven, okay? All right, let's go back to this problem now. We get 8 miles per gallon, okay? So I can use 1 gallon of gas and go 8 miles. Is everybody with me there? So if I used 2 gallons of gas, that would have been 16 miles I drove. So everybody with me there? So I want to find out first, how many gallons did I need to go 115 miles, okay? So if I get 8 per gallon and I had a total of 115 miles, I would take 115 divided by 8, okay? This is going to show me how many gallons I used. If you were afraid of decimals already, get ready for your phobia, because we're going to have a decimal here, because 8 doesn't go into 115 evenly. 115 divided by 8 is 14.375. Whoa! By the way, feel free to make dividers between your work. This not only helps you organize it, but also whoever's grading your problem from ISTEP makes it easier for them to see it as well. So now I know that I used 14.375 gallons of gas. Last piece of information, because when they ask, how much does she pay for gas? Well, if we used 14.375 gallons and it's $3.50 per gallon, last step, I have to take the number of gallons I used and multiply that by the cost per gallon. This gives me a final answer. Now again, money, right? We're talking money. When you multiply this, you get a decent sized decimal. But if we're talking money, how many decimal places do you round to? Think about it. When's the last time you or your parent bought something? Did they say, your total is $30 and 0.17392 cents? No. It's 2 decimal places, right? Tenths, hundredths. Round 2 decimal places, you should get approximately 50.31. Did you get it? That's your final answer. $50.31. Ugly one. There we go. Ooh, that was a lot. Okay, again, this one kind of started slow, kind of gave you everything you needed. Part B explained what we already used. Part C, you really had to see the big picture. We had to use what we had in Part A to find number of gallons, then apply it to the 2 new pieces of information they gave me to find number of gallons used and total cost. Show your work. No one did this in your head. No one did. So we need to see it on paper. Hopefully this is getting you back in the swing of things. This is understanding. If you have questions, ask your teacher. If you see me in the hall, ask me as well. Next week we got problem number 2. Keep learning. Have a wonderful week.